In the news, the president says he wants to launch an attack on Syria, but he needs approval from Congress first. Hear what everyday people in the Mid-South and politicians have to say about it. Then find out what led to a violent family feud that has one man in the hospital and another behind bars. Those are today's big stories on this Daybreak Sunday, September 1st, 2013. But first, Anna Connick has our first look outside at Austin. We're just days closer to fall. And I know a lot of people I talked to yesterday were just struggling in that heat.
We were trying to get out of it as soon as possible.
Thanks a lot, Austin. Well, now our big story this morning, President Barack Obama, along with the world, is waiting for Congress to decide on whether or not the U.S. will launch an attack on Syria. The president says he's seen enough evidence of a deadly chemical attack in the country blamed for killing thousands. WREG's Elise Preston shows us how the possibility of war is sparking a lot of controversy here in the Mid-South. Protests demanding the U.S. stay out of Syria took place in several U.S. cities yesterday. In Los Angeles, California, a group of 200 anti-war demonstrators held signs that read "No more war" while chanting "Hands off Syria." Police reportedly wrote more than 40 citations and arrested 2 people after the group started to disrupt traffic. And in Houston, Texas, dozens of demonstrators, both for and against a possible U.S.-led attack on Syria, gathered on opposite sides yesterday. A group supporting the president's plan want the U.S. to take action in the country's bloody civil war. Congress is expected to start debating that issue when it returns to Washington September 9th. We'll stay with News Channel 3 as we follow the latest developments on Syria. We'll have updates and more information on WREG.com and during the news tonight at 5. It's been an emotional weekend for the family of an Arkansas girl killed in Mississippi County. Family members of 11-year-old Jessica Williams laid her to rest yesterday. Her body was found last Wednesday morning in a canal in Gosnell, Arkansas. Authorities have charged 17-year-old Christopher Sowell with first-degree murder. Investigators say Sowell confessed to killing her. He's being held on $2 million bond. Now a crime check on a family feud that sent a man to jail on assault charges and another to the hospital with broken bones. 44-year-old Nathaniel Wilkins is charged with aggravated assault for allegedly running over a man twice outside a relative's house. And family members say they watched it all unfold. Now police say they recovered 2 handguns at the scene. They also said 1 bullet hit a neighbor's garage, but no one else was hurt. The holiday weekend is in full swing, and to make your Labor Day travels through Tennessee easier, TDOT has put the brakes on all road construction. Crews won't start working again until 6 a.m. Tuesday. The Tennessee Highway Patrol and local law enforcement agencies will also be out in several counties enforcing the state's No Refusal DUI campaign. That law allows officers to seek search warrants for blood samples when they suspect a driver is under the influence. MATA will operate a special holiday schedule for Labor Day. Bus and trolley schedules for Monday will run just like they would on Sunday. The North End Terminal will open at 8:30 tomorrow morning and close at 6 p.m. MATA's Office Information Center and American Way Transit Center will be closed for the holiday. The Delta Fair is a great place to spend the holiday weekend in the Mid-South. Gates open at noon today. This is the 3rd day of the annual fair happening at the Agri Center. There's games, rides, and of course, all that delicious fair food. Don't worry if you don't make it today because the Delta Fair runs until next Sunday. Well, a warm and muggy start to the day. Could we see a break from the heat this week? News Channel 3's Austin Connick will have a look at the On Your Side forecast later. But first, big news concerning the health of Nelson Mandela, and wildfires ripping through Yosemite National Park sparked a new problem. Find out what firefighters are up against. That's next on News Channel 3. Stay with us. Fast food restaurants are duking it out with minimum wage workers who want their pay doubled. It's an economic food fight. One expert says the restaurants will not likely serve up. WREG's Sabrina Hall has the story. Ganuski says one guarantee way workers will get a raise is when the federal minimum wage increases. That usually is in much smaller increments over a period of years. The Memphis-based organization that brought the former Bishop Byrne High School has filed for a $2.6 million loan. The Influence One Foundation, best known for operating the City University charter schools, filed the deed of trust last week through Regions Bank. The Catholic Diocese of Memphis closed Bishop Byrne at the end of 2012 to the 2013 school year and sold the property to the foundation. Well, as we said, a warm start to the day. Could we see any relief from the heat this week? Fingers crossed. News Channel 3's Austin Onek will have a look at your On Your Side forecast just ahead. But first, as the country celebrated the 50th anniversary of the March in Washington, the president took a moment to sit down and talk with Memphis Mayor A.C. Warden. Don't miss News Channel 3's Otis Sanford's commentary on why that meeting was so important. That's next on News Channel 3 Daybreak. And if you're in our area today, you want to spend some time maybe by the pool, near some water at the Delta Fair, bring some water.
Off, though. Yeah.
They got misters out there, so that's the good news. And that's what's happening today. We'll have updates on all the day's news this evening on WREG.com and News Channel 3 at 5. Thanks for waking up for us. We'll see you this evening at 5. Thanks a lot, Austin. Well, breaking news update of a shooting at the Bartlett Walmart. This morning, the officer involved is out of the hospital and the man he shot is at the med. This all started over shoplifting. Michelle Reese explains how it escalated into violence. And that was Michelle Reese reporting. The Memphis police officer accused of using his gun, uniform, and radio as collateral for drugs is staying locked up until his trial. James Irwin was arrested Wednesday night by federal agents. During a hearing Friday, he cried while talking about spending the month of June in a California rehab center. He hoped the judge would let him go back to the treatment center instead of jail, but the judge refused, saying he needed to protect Irwin from himself. He's due back in court next week. Memphis police want to question a man about the murder of a Shelby County elementary school teacher. Her body was found Friday morning at the University Cabana apartments. She had been beaten with a hammer and a bat. News Channel 3 has learned that woman taught at Brewster Elementary School, but her name has not been released yet. Neighbors tell us the victim was arguing with a man in the complex parking lot just before midnight yesterday. Police believe that man is the woman's ex-boyfriend who had just gotten out of prison for assaulting her. Investigators are waiting on autopsy results to determine exactly how an 11-year-old Arkansas girl died earlier this week. The body of Jessica Williams was found in a canal near the town of Gosnell. 17-year-old Christopher Sowell is charged with first-degree murder in the crime. Police say that he confessed to killing Williams and dumping her body. Neighbors say Jessica had complained about Sowell making unwanted advances toward her. Police make an arrest for a shooting this week that left an 18-year-old permanently paralyzed. Joshua Johnson is charged with 8 counts of attempted second-degree murder after police say he fired into a group of people at the Raleigh Bartlett Meadows Park late Wednesday night. We talked to one of the victims about what happened. 20-year-old Joshua Johnson is locked up on $1 million bond. He will be in court on Tuesday. Well, coming up, a deadly earthquake rocks the world overnight, and UN inspectors are just now leaving Syria, but the U.S. has already released its finding on a chemical weapons attack there. So what happens now? That's next on News Channel 3 Daybreak. Well, the only thing cuter than a panda is 2 baby pandas. Twin panda brothers at the Atlanta Zoo are the only surviving panda twins in the U.S., so doctors have been keeping a close eye on them since their birth last month, and they say the babies are making considerable progress. Each weighs about 4 pounds. When they were born, they were no bigger than a stick of butter. Zoo staff help Mama Panda care for her cubs. While one baby rests in an incubator, the other spends time with Mom. They get swapped out every 4 hours. So the babies will stay in Atlanta for a few years, but will eventually be sent to China. Well, we've got more news headed your way in our next half hour. We now know who is in the running for the House seat left open by the late Tennessee Representative Lois DeBerry, and you can now trade in your old iPhone to get money for a new one. That and a whole lot more. Stay with us.